First, I want to say, obviously, it was a great win. Played a great basketball team in Oklahoma State. Very well coached basketball team. Travis Ford and Oklahoma State. That was, as Coach Fran Fraschilla said, that was like a street fight, an old-fashioned street fight. And I actually told our guys at halftime that we have 5 rounds left in this heavyweight fight, and we have to win every round because we're behind on the judges' scorecard, and we've got to win every round. And that means 5 4-minute segments left in the second half, and we were able to win every 4-minute segment in the second half. And the credit goes to 2 things. One, obviously my staff did a heck of a job. The fans here gave us a great lift. But secondly, and most importantly, obviously this is a players' game. The guys to my right and everyone else down there in the locker room got us the win. The players make the plays, did a tremendous job. I thought our bench was awesome. And I know it's not easy for guys like Karan Iverson and Nick King and Dominique Woodson and Damian Wilson, and David Pelham wants to even play more. And they're here. They're not playing a lot, but they were very positive on the bench and encouraging and really giving us some great lift. Trey Draper, Anthony Cole, Jake McDowell. Those guys were just tremendous, and so I'm very, very proud of the bench.
You said on Friday that you don't believe in revenge. This had to feel pretty good, though.
I'm not a revenge guy. I'm not like an ill will guy. I believe in. I think when you hold things in ill will, things come out sideways. And I talked to our guys about that. So I'm not into revenge. What I'm into is I felt after a week and a half ago we got our butts kicked. We need to have course correction, and we corrected some of the course. And we're not a finished product. We got to clean things up. And you look at our schedule with our conference. We still have, we don't have time to relax. But what we did is we understood from that game that it was and that it was actually a great thing that we scheduled that game, and to be able to play that game, so we could be able to, be able to see what was wrong. If we had played a game at that time and won by 40, we would not have maybe we would have lost to LSU, because we would not have been able to see what needed to be seen. And I only say that because in the past couple of years, last year Bahamas or the year before that Maui, we went in there, I thought both times, more cocky and arrogant, not locked in. And because the previous games before going to those tournaments, we had great wins and we won by a lot. So sometimes there's a negative, or you get punched a little bit, and we had to find a way to find ourselves, and that's why I was proud that we were able to do that. The other thing that I just want to say, the guts and fortitude of our guys to be able to pull out that win was great, and that's a great Oklahoma State team.
You come out of halftime, 7-0 run. How big was that? Did you guys win that game without that run?
Yeah, no, you know what? And we missed a shot, and then I think Shaq got the rebound, put it back in, and and I told the guys at halftime that, hey, we're going to have to dig in. And I got on Chris going from the half court into the locker room. I got on him hard because he's our starting point guard, and as a coach, you're going to have the PG kind of your extension there, and so and he did a really good job, and so it's just kind of how it is from a coach to a point guard. But he was good the first half, but he was at another level the second half. And he had that fire. When he has that fire, he's very, very good. But I thought him, Joe Jackson, Michael Dixon, and Jaron Johnson, those 4 senior guards did their job. They played at a high level. And I've always said this, those 4 senior guys have got to be very good every time we step on the floor. It's on them, because there's the basketball pressure's on them to produce, and they know it. They accept the responsibility, and those guys stepped up. And guys like Shaq and Austin have obviously been great, and which has helped guys like Chris and the other guards open up.
Josh, after the game, the fans were obviously happy for the team, happy for the players.
Yep.
There were a lot of people specifically happy for you. Your own players said they're happy for you. Given everything you've had, all the questions you've had to answer, how satisfying is this?
Well, Gary, you're in Memphis. You're talking about on the radio. It's, and the funny thing was last year, and, people talked about the St. Mary's game because they were top 25 in the coach poll, and all of a sudden out of nowhere this year, now is the Associated Press. And people who are not in Memphis don't, if you don't understand Memphis, you can ask Len Baker. He said after the Oklahoma State game, he said he's never seen anything like it in the history of sports, of how the city was of the first time we played Oklahoma State. So it's just a different deal. But two things. Let me say this. Number one, I've never gone in a game that I didn't want to win. I look at Siena the same as Oklahoma State is in terms of preparation, the amount of film, wanting to win. That's just me. And because for these guys, I want the best for them. And secondly, I recognize that I don't take a win for granted. People get upset at me for saying that all the time. I don't, because I understand how hard it is. But it's a player's game. And the reason a coach is able to win a game like this or be able to have success like we've had is because of the players making plays. I can draw great things on the board, and if they make shots, great play. If they don't make a shot, not a good play. So it's on the players. And in the end, it's a player's game, and they're the ones who get the job done.
But I guess specifically what I'm asking is, your life, at least temporarily, changes now. I mean, you recognize that, right?
Gary, it's like the St. Mary. I go back to the St. Mary's game. The shot is shot from Deladova in the corner. We've won 31 games. Okay, for the media here, we won 30. There's only 2 teams at that time in the NCAA tournament with 30+ wins. There's us and Gonzaga. We had 30. We had 31 wins. The shot goes up. If it goes in and we lose that game, people in Memphis were, who knows what they were talking on radio going crazy about, before that's a must win for my career. And he misses the shot. So it's as good coach, bad coach on that shot. You know what I mean? And so I keep it in perspective that it's a long season. We had won 27 straight games in Conference USA. I don't think people realize how hard that is to do. Like last year to go undefeated. Beating LSU 2 nights ago was not easy. So it's not just about a top 25 game to me. It's every game. It's important to me. It doesn't matter who we're playing because it's a process, and that's just how I look at it. How I am. Every game matters to me. Every possession matters to me, and these guys know it. Have I ever lightened up on a game? I'm the same way against every team, every way. There's no change on me. And it doesn't matter if someone's ranked 7th, 1, or ranked 331. That's just how I am.
They said you looked a little happier tonight.
Yeah, well, we won the championship. We won the championship, and I was happy for these guys. Because let me tell you, we were down 34 points a week and a half ago at one point, and we ended up losing by 21. And this is the second time this has happened. Now, Shaq wasn't the first time. The first time was we were playing El Paso. 2 weeks to the day, we lost by 30. We were down 33 or 34. We ended up losing by 27 to UTEP. They just ran us out of the gym. 2 weeks later, the same time, for the chance to win the conference championship. And you'd ask UTEP, the fans, they'll tell you it was one of the most devastating days in the history of their city. They were in mourning after we beat them because they got the tournament. They were counting on going, and 2 weeks later from the day we won and went to the tournament. The same thing here a week and a half later. We could have folded, we could have splintered. We had course correction because the city was upside down when we came back, but these guys stuck together. They didn't splinter. We had course correction. We trusted the process, and we got better from that game. And that's why I'm so proud of these young men.
Chris, he's talking about course correction when it comes to correcting what happened to Smart last game. You went off. How did you guys do what you did?
The coaches had a great game plan going to the game, and we just executed very well. And I guarded them throughout most of the game, and Jaron and Joe, they did an awesome job on them too. We just stayed the course like he always says, and we executed. When you execute, you come out victorious, and that's what happened.
Shaq, you have a big tournament. You win the MVP. You guys win the championship. Things are going well for you guys. But what can you guys take from this tournament here and use it when you guys get into conference tournaments and tournaments beyond that?
I think our biggest thing throughout this tournament was just facing adversity. Not too much the first game, but with the last 2 games, we came into halftime down. So just staying consistent and not folding under pressure and just staying together. I think that'll go a long way for us. Oh yeah. I try to get everybody into it.
Does this win get you guys ready for the American Athletic schedule coming up?
Yeah, well, you look at our schedule. We have a tough schedule. And Chris Crawford, during the summer, came up to me and said, Coach, I want to please get us the toughest schedule that you can. Joe Jackson, Jaron Johnson, Chris Crawford, all three came to me this summer and told me that. And ESPN ranks us as the #2 toughest schedule in the country. So we schedule tough. Like Saturday, we played Northwestern State. I know people might not, let me tell you something. They're picked to win their league. They were an NCAA tournament team last year. They went into Auburn and beat Auburn, by a good margin. So we don't have, and we schedule that way intentionally because that's what these guys ask. So every night we have to be ready to play. And but this game helps us, as I keep saying, for the process for preparing for the American. That's why I put the schedule together, because the American, every time we step on the floor, you look, we're going twice Connecticut, twice Louisville, twice Cincinnati, twice South Florida, twice Central Florida, Houston, Temple, Rutgers, SMU. I mean, that's a heck of a deal. And so we got to be prepared once we get to that point.
Coach, Shaq was not this guy at the end of last year, wasn't playing with that energy. Just how much of a difference does it make when this guy's playing?
Well, Shaq's body, he's playing above the rim. And here's the other thing with Shaq right now. There's no mental clutter. Like last year, he was, and I've told this, Shaq was the woe was me syndrome. And what he did this year, from the summer to this point, is he manned up and said, "Hey, I'm taking full responsibility, and I'm going to do my job. I'm going to do it your way, Coach, not my way." And we really see eye to eye right now, and I'm proud of him. I'm very proud of him, because at the end of last year, he could have easily, just kind of stayed in the same course. He needed course correction, and he had course correction, and he changed his focus, his mentality, what he needed to do. And by him having course correction as an individual on and off the court, it's allowed him to be the player he is right now.
Can you speak to that, Shaq? It just looks like you're having so much fun out there.
Just to follow off what Coach said, after the season last year, after the Michigan State loss, I came to him and I said, "Coach, we're just going to do it your way. We're going to, I'm 2 feet in. Whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do it." And that's what I did.
Do you seem to be more assertive on Thursday?
Say it again.
Do you seem to be more assertive underneath on Thursday?
Right.
Well, let me say this. He was very assertive, but part of it is, our guards have done a good job getting him the ball, and Austin. Those guys have fed off of each other. And the other thing is, what I'm proud of in a game like that, we have 9 turnovers. Because our first time we played Austin P and then Oklahoma State, I think we had almost like 20. We had 21 turnovers versus Austin P. I think 14 versus Oklahoma State, and then we had like 11, 10, 10, 9. I mean, so that's a big thing, is we're not giving away possessions. And, so that's a big thing for us right there.
Talk about how you and Austin worked down low.
Oh, yeah. Austin Nichols is a great player, as you can see. Young player, but coming along and building his confidence along the way.
It's a bigger picture question, but keep talking about the competition you guys played here, a lot of good teams. You think there could be 3, maybe 4 NCAA tournaments?
Oh, well, obviously Oklahoma State, LSU. I think Butler's pretty darn good. LSU's a for sure fire NCAA tournament team. Obviously Oklahoma State. You're looking at. I thought St. Joe's was good. So. And I think Butler's pretty darn good. Again, it's. You could have 3 to 5 teams out of here be in the NCAA tournament.
Coach, following up on that, with you said these guys, a couple NCAA teams here. How does that, the way you saw your team play here, how does that make you feel about when you started American athletic play against guys like Louisville, UConn, people who were there?
Yeah, well, but it's not just Louisville and UConn. Central Florida, Houston, SMU. SMU went in Texas A&M yesterday and beat Texas A&M. The league is good, and so you got to be ready every night. And it's not just the American. It's look, Saturday we play Northwestern State. We got to be ready, and so you have to guard against any complacency or letdown. This is a long season. This is part of the process of doing our job, and to win this tournament is a special thing, because you don't take those for granted. I don't ever take a win for granted, as I tell our players, and you don't take championships for granted. They're not easy to get.
Chris and Shaq, you don't want to talk about it a little bit outside, but did you guys want this win just as bad for him as maybe you did for yourselves? After the beating he kind of took after the first Oklahoma State game.
Well, of course we wanted it for him, but it's not even. I hate to say that we wanted to prove people wrong, but it just felt good to give my head coach a top 5 win. It just feels good, to make him feel good.
And I think they were number 3 in the polls since Kansas and Duke lost. So technically they were really 3 today. So maybe that now, because I don't want to get started on Monday that I haven't had a top 3 win. So well, that's the next thing I can see coming out. So yes, we haven't had a 1 or 2, but we can say technically a 3. In a way. But again, this was a great win for our program, a great win for our young men, and this is a players' game. The players make plays. Okay, thank you, everybody.